and welcome to the first in what might turn into a series of reviews. Might end up being nothing, but figured we'd have a pop at it anyway and review kind of some of the games that maybe don't get the attention from bigger outlets and stuff, and just games we like and give our thoughts on them. So the one we're doing today is Rugby 25, a game that has gone through a few fairly major updates, shall we say, taking it from an unplayable Steam version at release to what it is now. Myself, Fergus, and this is Scott, co-host.
Oh,
Co-host, hopefully going to be doing a lot of the reviews and stuff with us. We'll crack on then. So, Scotty, what would you say are your overall impressions of Rugby 25 after what has it been, the 6 months we've had it for?
yeah, so 6 months. I think since it's came on from Steam Early Access to where it is now, it's almost like a totally different game. Um, there's a lot of things that have been updated and fixed in that time. There's a lot of things that have been broken in that time, but ultimately now it's in a state where you can play it and you can have fun. There's a few issues that I'm sure we'll dive into, but overall, it's a good game. There's some really good, official licenses in there that they've managed to secure and stuff, which is great. And it's good to just have a rugby game that's new and fresh and showing off the sport.
Yeah, 100%. I'd kind of agree with all that, especially like we were saying, where it started on Steam when it first came out. And I mean, admittedly, initially I was playing it on a Steam Deck, but it was borderline unplayable. You couldn't pass the ball and stuff. Like it was
Yeah.
unreal to where it is now, where it is like a decent game. And I recently picked up Rugby Challenge 4 again to do a Lions video with Cairns channel, Minigus321, where we kind of played through the test series for the Aussie Lions as well. And yeah, the only reason we had to use Challenge 4 is because this one's team customization features aren't quite there yet. So like we had to use Challenge 4, which turns out with the last update they kind of broke a few bits, aka you can't do a miss pass anymore. So that was interesting. But yeah, no, I totally agree. I think this game's in a good state. I'll just throw up some gameplay here. I'll just play some gameplay in the background. So yeah, from both of us, the way we were kind of going to run this was start with three positives and three negatives each, and then give our scores and final thoughts. Just a short 10-minute reviews, kind of what we're aiming for here. And that's the kind of stuff we'll be looking at. What you're seeing now on the screen is the highlights of Scotty's second game in 3 months or something, and I'd been playing it in my boredom time, to be perfectly honest. And one of those games where you keep playing, and at the end of it, you go, "I've achieved nothing here, and I feel empty." Like, but I was addicted. So do you want to start with your three positives, Scott?
Yeah, sure. So my sort of three are the first thing is the licenses. I think it's been a big thing in this game. There's many, many teams and nations that have been represented, which is fantastic to see. Some of the player models aren't actually that bad either. Some of them actually look fairly decent, certainly for like the bigger sides. But yeah, that's kind of my first one. The second one is again, I think it's the attention the devs are paying to it. So they are updating it, they are fixing things, and certainly from where it was to where it is now, like we said, it's a game you can play. It's in a place now that you can actually pass the ball. You can kind of get through a game now without being stuck in like a scrum, that kind of thing. So the constant updates and the attention to it, I would say, is a real positive. And also I would say the updates in terms of the squads. So one thing I've noticed is they tend to update the squads fairly regularly. So if players are coming in and out, players going up to join tours, etc., they are actually there that you can use. I noticed it recently when I was doing the just playing around with it really the other day. Scotland squad's been updated to include some players that
No.
previously weren't there. So that kind of thing in the background you might not see all the time, but that's a huge positive for me.
Nice. That was number three, was it?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. So I'll do my three now. Good points there, Scott. Yeah, like you said, like I mean the face scans and everything are actually really good. Like it's with a kind of mid-budget level game, you're never gonna get the
yeah,
Last of Us level graphics on a sports game, but like you can tell what players who, for the most part, and as I've said, that very generic looking South African man has just popped up on the screen. Um, so there are some of them as well where they didn't get the face scan. For example, Adam Hastings looks like evil Adam Hastings with a big black goatee. Like,
yeah.
but yeah. So I'll kind of pivot off that. I think actually the systems in this game work quite well, or now that they've kind of been updated a bit. It like the passing options and the kicking, I think feels quite good. That would be my first
Hmm.
positive for it. Um, Secondly, the career mode does give a lot of options, which personally I quite like, and like you say, the amount of licensed tournaments and stuff is just second to none, which is great. That really
Yeah,
makes it makes the game really a viable product because you're not going to want to play generic rugby team 1 versus generic rugby team 2, which is what has happened to, again, Rugby Challenge 4. Not to dunk on it, but they've got rid of the licenses because the licenses belong to Rugby 25 and re-released it as generic Rugby Challenge 4 game, basically, which is
yeah,
interesting. And third positive, it is very. This is like a positive and a negative kind of. Is very Moorish. Like when you play, it's got that kind of nature to it that FIFA or Madden does. That when you play, if you have a bad finish to a game, you want to go again. You want to go again and just try and
yeah,
score a couple of nice tries or whatever, even when it makes you feel dead inside afterwards because you're like, I've just wasted 2 hours doing this. um, so yeah, that would probably be my three main positives. I'm just trying to think if there's any other bit. Oh, the online play. Do you know what? That's my positive number three. Actually, is the latency in online is fantastic. There's
yeah,
basically no lag. The quality of what you're doing is really really good. It is as if you're playing locally, almost or as close to as you can get with that, which is really nice. I think we had a couple in this game where we did teleport, but that I mean, in 6 months of playing the game, with as broken as it's been, that's the worst I've seen the latency be. So that I
yeah.
thought was really impressive. So now on to the negative part. We probably should have started with negatives and finished on positives in hindsight, but
Well, yeah,
here we are.
that's true.
So yes, Scotty, your three negatives for this game.
Um, I think the biggest one is probably the release of it.
Mm,
So the states that it was in previously have probably lost a lot of players. Um, it was like we have touched on a few times, borderline unplayable
yeah,
for the most part of its release. But to kind of pivot back to a slight positive, like we say, they have taken that feedback on board and they have updated it fairly regularly. I think every time I open Steam, there's another update for this game.
mm-hmm.
So they are fixing little things as they go, and you can tell that they're interested in kind of bringing some players back. Um, I haven't seen it on sort of sale or anything like that on Steam just yet, to try and kind of boost the player count, but I'm sure that'll come at some point now that it's in a better place than it was.
I think
Um,
just on that point as well, Scotty. Sorry, I think the updates they were weekly, but now they're 3 weekly. Um,
yeah.
as they're obviously they were working on Rugby League Live as well, the team I believe as well. So
Mhm.
sorry, on you go. Just wanted to throw
Yeah.
that nugget of information in there.
Yeah, no, totally. In terms of number two, so I would say that there's certainly been a few times when we've sort of behind the scenes. This isn't the first game that we have played to try to record for this. We did try this. Was it a couple months ago or something like that?
Yeah,
But yeah, there was a few times where, let's just say, the rules weren't necessarily followed or the laws of the
yeah.
game weren't entirely accurate, that kind of thing. So yeah, although this recent game that we have recorded and the one that you guys can see on the screen is much better. Um, but yeah, that I would say they need to get the the laws nailed down
Yeah.
in future, because it's kind of like playing football and they've got the offside rule wrong or something like that. That kind of thing is what I would say. There's various examples of the laws not being entirely accurate. I guess for me, number three would probably be the again, this is something that it's probably just personal to me. Some of the controls aren't entirely, they're not great all the time. So whilst the control scheme's really good, I actually really enjoy the control scheme. It's very easy and intuitive and it works really well. Sometimes when you go to do something, it just doesn't do it, and there's
Mhm.
no real reason why. Um, or for example, you'll run towards the ball, they won't pick up the ball, they'll just kick it further and you've not asked them to. It'll just sort of bounce off their shin or their knee and go and touch or into, a dead ball line or something like that. But yeah, so there's little nuggets like that that you think, well, maybe that could be improved. But again, that's kind of me coming from a game like, say, Madden or FIFA, where those things are refined.
Mhm.
It's a yearly release, the controls don't change, these things aren't sort of majorly adjusted every single year. So yeah, little things like that could be definitely improved. Um, just for clarification, I have not played the career mode, so I don't know how, positive or negative that aspect of it is, but certainly the things I've touched on there. And the online mode's absolutely fine, but you can't just search for a random game. You either have to host a game or
Mhm.
um, I think you can search for a random game now, but before you either had to host a game or join a game that someone else had created. So there's that little aspect of it, but that's just nitpicking at that point.
Yeah, I think with the online stuff you have to search for a room now. But like you can
Right.
search for a random room, but if you set up a random room, likelihood is you're just going to be sitting there twiddling your thumbs for 20 minutes and nobody's going to join.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, that's an issue on the matchmaking side. But yeah, no, thanks, Scotty. Those are good negatives if you like constructive criticism.
Mhm.
Um, what I'll do is I'll start with well, just before I go on to my three negatives. One of the funny bits was like this game that you're watching is meant to be a 10-minute game, and it went on for about 30 minutes or 25 minutes or something. So it's not really representative of the halves, but it was worse than the first game we did because every time the scrums were broken. Oh, there's a glitch just happened on screen. The scrums were very broken. So anytime we did a scrum, it would just collapse and automatically pick scrum again. So I think it ended up
Yeah.
being what instead of a 10-minute game, it was a 45-minute game where we were just screaming, going, "No, no more scrums!" like, um, but yeah, no.
Yeah.
So I think my first negative would be probably similar to yours in the sense of kind of glitches and unrefined gameplay. So as people just saw there, a random offload went to through, and it went 60 meters at 45-degree angle forwards, which is obviously like an implementation problem. Along with that, like the scrummaging is still, even with the updates, a bit inconsistent. If you don't
Hmm.
pass the first two initial hits in the scrum, um, then it collapses and it's a penalty. And it's quite like it's not an easy thing to pick up. So yeah, those that would be my first one. Maybe like some unrefined glitches and stuff would be my first negative, like the offside thing and everything. The second one, I actually do think that gameplay wise, there's a couple of bits that need improved. For example, the handoff works very well. The sidestep is incredibly difficult to time, and the Bosch, I think it's worked once for me. There's no kind of
Yeah.
tutorial or anything on the right ways to actually implement those gameplay moments. Along with, I think the scrumming is the only bit that I've come across that is a bit unintuitive. I like the idea, but I think you could be a bit more generous with the timings of the
Yeah.
engages or something. Just a bit of tweaking on that would be great. And the last negative, it might be a wee bit of a longer one because I'll kind of dive into career mode quickly. So they fixed it in a couple of updates where it became impossible initially to keep a budget and keep players from your squad. Like the budgeting and everything was just all wrong. You would fail it. You'd be paying 500k for, I don't know, like, I don't want to badmouth any rugby players, but a mid level Worcester Warriors academy recruit would be asking, if they were over rating 70, would be asking for 300 grand a year from you, and they've not done that. With that as well, I feel like the creative players in career mode, their stamina doesn't seem to line up very well. And it's not like you're using them more, but it just doesn't seem to, even when it's set to full, doesn't seem to track in terms of gameplay. And yeah, kind of last point on career mode slash custom teams is that my last negative would be probably see the custom team feature. I know I've turned it into four here, but the custom teams feature, uh, you can't edit official teams, which is a problem. So if I create a custom team for, let's say, the British and Irish Lions, you can upload a strip, you can create 23 custom players. You cannot pull in any official players from
Yeah.
from any of the teams, which is a big sticking point. Because that's half the fun. Like sometimes you want to make your own, like the Lions team, and do your own Lions tour, for example, as we wanted to do. Um, yeah, so that's kind of a sticking point as well. So that would be my three negatives. There's a lot more to say, but we're trying to keep it short, and I've already run way over. So, so yeah. So just to finish off, then, final thoughts on a score out of 10, Scotty.
Um, yeah, so I know we keep kind of going back and forward on it, but the from where it was to where it is now, it vastly improved. It's a game that I've had a lot of fun playing. It's a game that has, or maybe had, huge potential, and it's not quite lived up to it just yet,
Mm-hmm.
I would say. It's still there. Although it's fairly late in the release cycle now to get those players back that were maybe interested in it when it first released. Now that it's on consoles and things like that, it's in a good place. Something maybe like putting it on Xbox Game Pass or something like that might help grow it a bit more.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously that's a developer decision. The online is great. Like we said, that the latency has been brilliant for what the budget is for the type of game that it is. It is really good. There's only a few things where people teleport and snatch the ball from an intercept from 60 meters away,
Yeah.
but that's very few and far between. Um, in terms of a score out of 10, so I'm going to kind of do this in two parts. Where it is now, I would give it probably 6.5 to 7.
Mm-hmm.
But for what it could be, I think it could be around about an 8.5 if they fix all the issues, if they added a few more little features, like we say, pulling players into custom teams, the ability to just search for like a quick match online, so you don't have to sit in rooms and wait for people or try and find the room, that kind of thing. And fix the little pieces of laws not being followed or little quality of life updates. So, for example, you punt the ball out on the full from a penalty, and it's way over the stand. It's not even in the stadium anymore. And the commentary team are like, "Oh, he's not found touch there." It's like, well, those little things aren't ideal, but from where it could be, definitely it's sitting at about a 6.5. Could be like an 8.
Yeah.
Is what I would say.
Yeah, I'd wholeheartedly agree. I think I'll do it from the opposite end. So when it first came out, I probably would have given it a 2 out of 10. When it was borderline unplayable, like
Mhm.
it was terrible. I mean, you're verging on a 1. Like, I mean, like if you can't play the game, what's the point? When we did our last run at a review, which never got published, you'll never see that. Um, I think we both settled on a 4 out of 10, didn't we?
Yeah.
With the improvements that we made. And right now, I'm 100% with you. I'd be sitting at a 6.5. So that shows the trajectory over 6 months of how much the game has improved. And like, I don't know if you've played the previous iterations of the Rugby like 20 series or whatever. Every game has got better and better and better. This one felt like a
Mhm.
bit of a soft reset on it, but the improvement is there, as can be seen. I think, like you say, probably they need to adjust the little things. I think as well, the flow of open play needs to be improved a little bit as well, because it does feel a little bit like static, where it's pass, catch, now you run, now you rather than actually
Yeah.
being able to do these things in flux, you know?
Hmm.
So yeah, no, but I totally agree. I think 6.5 is a very fair score for now. And yeah, like I say, with the trajectory it's been on, there's no reason it couldn't get to an 8 or an 8.5. But
Hmm.
I think even to get to an 8.5, it's going to have to do quite a lot. And I don't know if, with this stage in the release cycle, if they're going to put that in, basically.
Yeah, yeah. One thing we perhaps haven't touched on that I kind of wanted to mention is the licenses for stadiums as well.
Mm-hmm.
They're actually really good
Really good.
for like the budget for the game. They're really good,
Yeah.
especially like so. Obviously, you and I are both Edinburgh fans, so wow.
Hey, excuse me, sir.
Well, you know what I mean. Like, Edinburgh, Glasgow, Scotland,
Scotland fans, yes.
Scotland fan. You would support Edinburgh over, say, like, another team that isn't Glasgow.
Well,
But,
we
well,
won't get into that.
maybe.
We won't get into
Well, maybe.
that.
But if you look at something like the Hive Stadium, for example, or Murrayfield or something like that, if you put it on, like, say, like the day cycle, right? It looks a bit strange in the day, but if you put it at like dusk or nighttime, they look fantastic.
Yeah.
They look really good.
Scotland's exactly the same. Scotland looks spot on. Like,
Yeah.
having been there a lot in my time, like it looks magic, and like you could say that with a lot of the stadiums in there. So yeah, I totally agree with that. Murrayfield as well looks great. You know.
Yeah.
Um,
I know that they've highlighted Stade de France quite a bit in terms of the marketing, and a lot of the gameplay that you see online takes place in Stade de France because for a while it was sort of the default option,
mhm.
but all the other ones are actually really good from what I've seen. So I've not played in all of them, hands up, but they are actually really sort of true to life. It does look good. The crowd could be updated, but that's just it is what it is. But the actual licenses and the way it goes is fantastic. One thing I have noticed though, which is interesting, is the they've changed it now in the menus. So when it first came out, it was like Edinburgh Stadium, Dublin
Yeah,
Stadium,
yeah,
that kind
yeah.
of thing. And now they've got the actual names in there.
Oh,
So
good.
it's things like that that we're talking about that are small improvements but make a big difference to people that actually play the game. So it's that kind of thing. Like for example, Murrayfield is sponsored by Scottish Gas. So when you would load up the game in the menus, it'd be like Edinburgh Stadium,
Yeah,
and then the commentary team would refer to it as Murrayfield, things like that. So then it's like, well, why is there a difference?
yeah,
But it's that little things that they've fixed, which is a great improvement to see.
yeah, and shows the intention.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you for that, Scott. Thank you for your thoughts. Thank you, anyone, if anyone watches this. Thank you for watching. First time trying it. Tell us if you like it, if you think it's rubbish. I'll edit out the swearing I did so it can be acceptable for all ages. But yeah, he mentioned Edinburgh fans, so I was it set me off. No, thank you for watching, everyone. Thank you. Bye.